Jodi, how did you find carnivore?
Well, it was a long journey to get here. I can tell you that. I've been carnivore for over 1,000 days now, um, but it took me many years to get here. So I'll kind of start from the beginning. I was thinking about it. Um, I never had a weight problem as a child or young adult, anything like that. I did have lots of allergies and was often sick as a child. We ate the standard Western diet. So, but my mom cooked everything homemade. Like she made homemade bread and homemade jam, and every meal was homemade. She never bought anything from a package. Um, so basically, I grew up on a whole foods diet without realizing it, I guess. We never ate junk food unless she made homemade cookies or homemade cake. We never had soda pop in the house or candy, only at things like Halloween or Christmas, right? Like, so I was a pretty healthy kid, other than, when you're sick every once in a while. I played all kinds of sports and I danced. And so I had a good, healthy childhood. So if you fast forward a bit, about 30 years ago, coming up to 30 years, I got married and moved to Germany. Um, as many people do, I gained like 20 pounds in my first year of marriage. But I think I was doing a lot of comfort eating because I was missing home and a bit lonely, probably. But also, I started to get into the German culture, which is eating cake every day. Like, honestly, cafe and kuchen is a thing. And we would eat other things like breaded schnitzel or French fries if we went out and drinking German beer. So then my uptake of wheat definitely went up once I moved to Germany. So, yeah, before I knew it, I guess I had sort of a myriad of illnesses. So, first, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis. And that's usually the curvature of the spine, how it affects people. But with me, it came out in my eyes. I kept having an inflammation of the iris. And they tested me, they tested my blood, and I do have the HLB27 blood factor, which people with AS have. So they rubber stamped me with that. And I just had to be careful because I guess it can really damage your eyes, probably permanently, if you have inflammation of your iris. The first time I saw the ophthalmologist here, he treated me by giving me a shot of cortisone in my eyeball. That was really not pleasant, I can tell you, because that's when we found out I do not take to local anesthetic. So when he gave me eye drops to numb my eye, it did not work. And you could hear the screams for miles. It was brutal. And he went white as a ghost. He's never had that happen before and never gave me a shot in the eye again. So then I was treated with cortisone tablets and cortisone eye drops. So, and you take it in a large dose and then wean off slowly. But yeah, so for my first, I don't know, 2, 3 years of marriage, I was on and off of cortisone every time I got an inflammation of the eye. But it did, he said it would lessen with age, and it seems to have, touch wood. So I haven't had it in a long time. Um, and then over the years, as you get older, my health kind of was deteriorating. You gain a little bit more weight. Um, and I just thought these things happened as you age, right? You'd wake up in the morning and your feet would hurt or your hips would hurt. I started to get anxiety though. I started to get IBS really bad. Like I didn't want to leave the house, IBS. I started to get migraines and I was hospitalized twice with my migraines. They were so bad. Um, I had allergies, but yeah, really bad allergies, really, really bad hay fever. Um, and then the worst though was when I was about age 40, I started to get endometriosis. And so that was 2012. I remember because that was my grandma's 100th birthday. And I I was really in a lot of pain from my endometriosis. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, my monthly period pain was an 11. It was off the charts. Like one time I actually blacked out at work. I was in so much pain. Um, and one of my sisters reached out to me and she had said she had just bought a book and read a book called The Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis. And she said, I think this might help you. So I immediately bought the book and put it on my night table and never read it and just thought, okay, I'm going to stop eating wheat. Um, it'll be easy. I'll try it for a month, right? You can do anything for a month. So right then and there, I stopped eating wheat, but I still had, at the time, I still had corn and rice because I didn't read the book. And 3 weeks later, I get my monthly period and I had zero pain, zero, none. So I went from 3 weeks previous of having being bedridden with pain and taking 1,800 milligrams of ibuprofen just to get through the day to nothing. And I thought, is this a coincidence or is it just from dropping wheat? So I thought I'd try it one more month. And again, no pain. So I never ate wheat again because I thought, well, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to eat that. It's really bad for me. So a few months go by, I guess, and I was happily living my life. And I realized that I had a lot other health benefits from not eating the wheat. Like, first of all, of course, I lost a whole bunch of weight. I didn't realize that that was also part of the inflammation. My feet and my ankles were hurting a lot less when I'd get out of bed in the morning. I was like, I don't have those pains anymore. That's weird. And then I realized after the summer was over that I didn't have a hay fever fit once at all that whole summer. Like I didn't need the medication once. So these were all sort of extra victories I had from just going wheat free, right? So I was like, great, I'll just do this. So I was wheat free for many years. And at that point, I had also had a few of those bad migraines I said I was hospitalized for. So my doctor had me on beta blockers as a prophylactic so I don't get migraines. Apparently, it's supposed to reduce the um, episodes of migraines that you can have. But I was feeling so good being wheat free that I made an appointment with her to talk to her because I was feeling healthy. And she was like, what? And I said, I was just wondering if I can be taken off my medication because I feel so good. And she was like, of course, what are you doing? So then I told her about Wheat Belly and Dr. Davis, and she was thrilled. She was really intrigued. She took notes. And since then, like the last time I saw her, she thanked me again for telling her about Wheat Belly. And she said she's recommended it to many of her patients. So that's really good. So she weaned me off the beta blockers, and then I was off all medication um, yeah, it was fabulous just by going Wheat Belly. So then if you fast forward a few more years, in 2020, I started the next part of my journey, and that's when I went alcohol free. So I stopped drinking. I went on a 90-day alcohol free challenge, and it felt so good being alcohol free after 90 days. I extended it to a year, and then that felt so good. I just haven't drank again. So that was 2020. I went sober. Um, I did, admittedly, though, kind of replace eating or drinking alcohol with eating a lot of sugar, even though it's not really paleo or keto, which were a lot of the recipes I was using. I was becoming quite a sugar addict. Anyway, part of my sober journey involved me exercising more, and I started taking up walking, and I did a lot of walking. And I was doing like between 10,000, 20,000 steps a day. So while I'd walk, I would listen to podcasts or listen to YouTube videos. I wouldn't watch them. I would be just listening to them as I walked. And that's when in 22, I guess it was, I discovered Dr. Ken Berry's channel. It popped up because of keto. And then I saw him switch to carnivore in real time. Like when I first started watching Ken Berry, he was the keto doctor. and promoting the perfect human diet. And I thought this sounds very interesting. Um, I was also binge listening to Kelly Hogan, right, on my zero carb life. And then I discovered Rena had the 5 Minute Body, which is now called the Primal Podcast. And I really loved her podcast because she would interview all these carnivore experts, right? And you would learn from them. And she was just sort of a normal person interviewing them. So I really liked that. So I did about 9 months of listening to podcasts before I even contemplated switching to carnivore. I was just thinking, is this crazy or is this a good thing? I don't know. But then one of Dr. Barry's videos was called something like, "Are you addicted to sugar?" So he did like a little quiz questionnaire, and I answered yes to 9 out of 10 questions. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously addicted to sugar. I will just try to go carnivore for 30 days to detox and see if it works. So I went carnivore, sort of cold turkey. I told my husband, I'm going to do this for 30 days. And he was like, oh, okay. So after 3 days of carnivore, so just at first it was like beef, butter, bacon, eggs, like he says, I had no more cravings for food, which was shocking to me because, like, when you're trying to be really good on keto or paleo and you eat really well for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and then 9 o'clock rolls around and then you go to the fridge and you get ice cream, or you go to the cupboard and get potato chips because they're potatoes, right? They aren't gluten, right? And I was really bad at that. But on carnivore, 3 days in, no cravings. It was shocking. So I did it for 30 days and I felt really good. And then I tested myself. I like opened the cupboard and I'm like, would I eat one potato chip or would I eat the whole bag? And I'm like, oh no, I would still eat the bag. Close the cupboard. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 30 more days. And same thing happens, right? A month later, I like test myself. I look at the potato chips. I'm like, nope, I would still eat the whole bag. Close the cupboard. So I decided 90 days and then I'll feel really good. And then I actually was feeling really good. Like I couldn't believe the difference, right? And that's when I decided, okay, I'll try it for a year. So not only though did I lose some weight, right, which obviously was still hanging around, even though I was mostly grain free. I still lost like 12 or 15 kilos, but there's so many non-scale victories, right, with carnivore. And that's when you realize the more podcasts you listen to, it's not about the weight loss, it's about healing your body, right? So especially because I got diagnosed with this autoimmune disease, I don't want to get curvature of the spine if that's what this leads to. So I want to get healthy. Um, so yeah, I have just been kept going. Right, I'm at 2 years, 9 months carnivore, and I've never felt better. Right, so one of the first things you notice, yes, I had some weight loss, and then but then you lose inches too, right? So 30 years later, I can fit into my wedding dress again, which is really crazy because I certainly couldn't have when I was 30 and 40 years old, that's for sure. Um, I am calmer. So going wheat belly had reduced my IBS and anxiety, but going carnivore even brings on a whole new level of calm that you don't experience when you're still having that inner battle with food or the lizard brain trying to pull you back over to sugar, right? So you have a lot more calmness. I have way more energy, even though I sleep less. So at first, I was saying one of the bad things about carnivore is I cannot take a nap anymore. And I don't need it, but I used to love to have a nap. Like on the weekends, I used to take Fridays off of work, and Friday afternoon, I'd have an hour nap, and I love to nap. And ever since going carnivore, I cannot nap. So even if I'm going out late at night or catching a flight and you think, oh, I just need a 10-minute nap to, no, I can't. I can lie down and rest for 10 minutes. So I should actually take up meditation maybe. Um, but I can't nap anymore. So that's either a plus or a minus. I'm not sure of being on carnivore, but you don't need it anymore, right? Even if I get 6 hours sleep at night or 7 hours sleep at night, you're always refreshed when you wake up. I like that. Um,
And you've had no recurrence of the previous problems?
no, nothing, nothing. I was going to say touch wood, but I don't think touching wood has anything to do with it. I think it's eliminating sugar and toxins from your body. Like I really think the carnivore doctors out there, right? They say, meat is what heals us, and plants can be medicine. And I really think that's it. I don't think we have to constantly feed ourselves these toxic plants to keep going. Um, I think meat is where the nutrients are, and plants can help you if you have something um, sudden, or I don't know the word I'm looking for. So, um, right. I mean, that's how aspirin and everything was invented, right? It was from the
Right.
willow bark of trees from Native Indians. So if you have something acute, then you can take some medicine. But if you don't, then you should just be able to cruise on meat and fat. And I think that's really true. Um, Other non-scale victories I have much better skin, I notice, I think, and my hair as well. I have less gray hair than I used to, so that's nice. Um, I have more endurance to go along with that energy. Like I can walk way further distances, and I can lift much heavier weights. So I do weightlifting. I try to do weightlifting 3 times a week, and I can lift way more weights than before. So that's nice.
And
Um,
and that weightlifting, is that because you feel like you actually want to move and do stuff, or is that just because you feel like, "Oh, I probably should"?
Both. Like I've always worked out. Like I joined a gym in Vancouver in like 1986. So I've always been into fitness. And I think it's also very important to, as you get older, right? They say, right, your bones and your muscle density decreases as you age. And I don't want that. I want to stay fit and healthy. One of my fitness instructors actually was working at a care home, and she said the biggest reason for her to keep working out is to have independence in her old age, right? She had to help every patient get in and out of bed, get on and off a toilet. And she's like, there is no dignity in that. If you are going to have a long life, then you better have a long, healthy life. So I discovered her also during COVID and when I was doing all that walking, and I did a fitness training course with her for 3 months, and I loved it. And then I've kept it up. I keep working out, and it's so good, right? Or you don't even need fancy weights or to go to the gym. You just have to do squats and things like that. Because it's true, you really need that independence, and it helps you with your balance, which I'm seeing in my in-laws, right? It's very important to keep up your muscles and your balance, and I want to have that, right? And if longevity also comes from part of your genes, I mean, my grandma lived to be 100, so I'm thinking maybe I should keep it fit and in shape. She certainly did. She gardened and shoveled snow and was completely healthy until she died at 100. So, yeah, I will hope to follow in her footsteps and keep healthy while I'm going about my business. Um, oh, I also, one of the other things that improved um, is my sun sensitivity. So I used to be really careful when stepping out in the sun. That was one of actually the triggers for my migraines. But then also I would sunburn really easy. And since going carnivore, I never sunburn. I never wore sunscreen. I actually always kind of hated wearing sunscreen. I didn't think it was good for us, and I didn't think it was good for the environment. So I would try to wear a hat or long sleeves or stay in the shade, um, and not sunbathe as much anymore, like I did when I was in my teens. Right when young and foolish, you like slather yourself in baby oil and go in the sun and get a tan, but I would always burn. But now I'm not so sun sensitive anymore. Even hours out in the sun with no sunscreen, and I'm good. It's really good. And I try not to wear sunglasses anymore. I do have some, maybe when I'm driving, in case there's reflection or glare, but I try to really not wear sunglasses anymore as well. Um, Hoping it helps with the circadian rhythm and everything. It's all part of our body, right? We need the vitamin D. So I'm trying not to wear sunglasses anymore, and it's working, right? So that's good. I'm enjoying that as well. Um, One of the things I noticed, or one of the things that made me nervous about being carnivore was traveling. And that's what I wanted to bring up with you today because I didn't see too many videos on people who travel. Um, and that's a concern for many people. They say, I'm going abroad. Can I keep this up? So I had a few short trips to like Scotland or back to Canada. And that was really easy to keep up carnivore. Even if you're staying at a hotel, right? The hotel breakfast, you can always get bacon and eggs for breakfast. And for dinner, you can order a steak or you can order a hamburger with no bun. And if they bring you sides, you can give them to somebody else at the table or whatever. It's not a big deal. Um, I try not to get hung up on the seed oil thing because I know a restaurant's going to be using the cheapest oil possible. But I really don't want to get too hung up on that when I go out. Otherwise, you're really limiting yourself. But I was thinking if I just stick to, bacon and eggs for breakfast and meat for dinner, you know, it's fine. And it was really fine traveling to, yeah, like I said, Scotland or Canada, not a problem. But we recently did a 3-week trip through Spain. And sometimes we stayed at hotels, sometimes we stayed at private vacation homes, and we would get a kitchen, right? So it's then super easy, right? And we would cook our at least one meal at home and then eat in a restaurant often at night. And again, it was then no problem. And not at all. Or little things in Spain, like I was missing or a bit jealous of all the people eating ice cream. Like it was hot, and everywhere you go, they have these beautiful ice cream shops. But right beside the ice cream shop, they have their Serrano ham shops. They have the famous Spanish ham. So there'd be an ice cream shop, and right beside it, a shop window selling meat and cheese, and you could get it in a little paper cone. So it was perfect. So my husband would get ice cream, and I would get meat and cheese in a cone, and I was happy, right? I got to have a little snack, eat out of a cone. It wasn't ice cream, but it was meat and cheese, and it was delicious. So I really enjoyed that. So traveling through Spain, not a problem. And we also went on our very first cruise, which I've never done a cruise before. Um, and that was also amazing. We can't wait to go on the next one. And staying carnivore on the cruise was also super easy. So it's buffet meal, every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, and anything you could get. Of course, they had a huge Western diet, counter Western, like tons of breads, and they had lots of desserts. Those things I skipped. They also had naturally a huge vegetarian and vegan section that I skipped, but all of everything else, it's just in abundance. It was fabulous. Meat and eggs and fish, and every day I ate my weight in smoked salmon. It was just fabulous, right? So that was really easy to do. I ate more there for sure than I do at home. And I talked to the head cook, and he said it's his duty to try to make sure everybody gains a pound a day when they're on a cruise. And when I came home, I had found I lost a pound. So I was wondering, I wonder if I could get my money back because I didn't gain a pound a day. I actually lost weight while I was there. So I think it was probably because I was eating so much. At home, I probably don't eat enough. Um, but it's hard to eat that much food, but it was delicious and not a problem at all. So now I'm not afraid of traveling. Although every new travel is going to be different. My husband really wants to go to Asia, and I'm like, oh, can I do carnivore in Asia? But I'm sure I can. You have to get over that initial hesitation and hump, and then just go and do it. And then I'm sure there's right. If there's a will, there's a way. And I mean, you're living in Japan, so I'm sure you can travel and
If you're in Northeast Asia, you'd be fine, definitely. I mean, you get steaks and stuff in places like Singapore and Malaysia, but yeah, in Japan or South Korea, you'd be fine because they've got barbecue restaurants everywhere.
oh yeah, perfect. Okay. So
Mm.
good. So that lessens my anxiety. Thanks.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I like the calmness that comes with the carnivore and the like it's food freedom, right? Because you don't obsess about food at all in this way of life. You just go about your day and then eat a couple of times a day and you're good. But I notice other things that I am braver than before. Like even though I wasn't eating grains, I would still be a little bit hesitant taking a strange bus somewhere that I didn't know or hiking up a mountain I didn't know. Um, and on our travels in Greece or in Spain, I didn't hesitate at all. And I I'm scared of heights and I climbed up a giant tower or went to the edge of a canyon. I mean, it was just amazing in Spain. It's so beautiful there. And it looked like the Grand Canyon, or it looks like what I assume Utah looks like. Like it was just beautiful. And I wasn't scared at all hiking up those rocky hills. So I think that's also added to this way of life because you don't have all these negative thoughts in your mind.
Right. It's not, there's not all that kind of, it's almost like you get all the junk out of your body. Your body is able to detox from all the junk, but your mind is also detoxing from the negative thought junk that you had going around.
For sure. For sure. Right? The
Yeah.
noise is cut out, not just the food noise, but all the other kind of noise that interrupts you from doing things. Um, so if people are worried about carnivore being restrictive, I think it's the other way around. I think it's freedom because I'm not restricted by my fear anymore as much as I was before. I'm not restricted by my weight anymore. And I'm not restricted by not being strong enough anymore. So I can do harder things and
Right.
have fun and right. I think it really is freeing.
Yeah. So, what does your husband think about this? Is he doing this with you, or is he kind of just saying, "Well, if it works for you, go ahead"?
He's really supportive. He sees the changes in me and he really likes that. At home, he eats whatever we cook together. He's the barbecue expert, so and he likes to do the grocery shopping too. So he has no problem buying steaks and hamburger meat that we can make burgers, and he eats meat with me every single day. But he's not exactly carnivore yet, so he um, has dessert, or if we go to a restaurant, he'll eat the french fries. He's never been a fan of vegetables, so he really likes not having to eat vegetables. When we were first married, I would make him eat all the vegetables. And so now he's happy that he doesn't have to eat vegetables, but he eats the not the bad things, but he eats the french fries and he eats the ice cream and things like that. And he's also always been gluten free because he was diagnosed with a wheat allergy about 20, 25 years ago, even before I stopped. And so then he doesn't eat wheat. So yeah, he's ketovore, right? So he's a few other things, but then he is really meat based, so he likes it. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, nice.
My
So,
kids, I have two kids. They're grown
oh,
up now,
okay.
and my daughter is vegetarian. So Yeah. Everybody jokes, and she even jokes that we could go out for a meal and just order one plate and then split it. She gets the veggies, I get the meat. So there's that. And my son, he's studying at university too, and he laughs at me and thinks I'm a bit crazy with this, but he also tries to eat what he can on his student budget. He eats meat and eggs and stuff like that, but then he still eats all the carbs. So, but maybe one day they'll see the light. I don't know. I'm trying not to push it.
Yeah. But that's nice that even like for example, even though your daughter's eating in a different way to you, it's just you can have a joking relationship about it, like here some families, maybe someone's vegetarian or vegan, someone goes carnivore and it's just like it's all on.
Yeah, no, we respect each other's choices, and
Mm.
I keep she will eat fish sometimes, say. So when she comes for a visit, then I'll make something with smoked salmon because you can't not have smoked salmon. And she's vegetarian, not vegan, so that's good. So every time she comes, I'll make eggs Benedict. So then I know she gets a little bit more protein, at least when she's visiting home, right? With homemade hollandaise, and she gets smoked salmon on her eggs Benedict, and it's good. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So, what is a regular day like for you with eating? Like, how many meals are you eating, and what are they made up of?
Yeah, I eat two proper meals a day, or I try to, and I start out every day with butter coffee. I really love my bullet coffee. I started doing this way before I went carnivore. I used to drink black coffee for my whole life, and then I don't know, about 5 years ago, I discovered bullet coffee and just love it. So I have butter coffee in the morning, and I know from watching what's their channel called? Two keto doctors or something like that. They actually did some blood tests, and if you do have bullet coffee in the morning, it doesn't break your fast, right? The fat in the coffee does not break a fast. So I'm still fasted. That's so if you think about intermittent fasting. So I have two butter coffees in the morning, and then at around 11:30 I eat lunch, and lunch almost every single day is a few burger patties. It's easy, it's cheap. I have a brand new air fryer, which I really love. So I'll have my sweet spot really is three burgers. That's what I really like to eat. So about 375 grams of hamburger meat is perfect for me. I can't eat the full 400 grams. I don't feel good on that, but 375, I feel good. And then for dinner, it varies. I just eat whatever, like whatever meat's on sale or whatever I have in the fridge. I'll have a steak, I'll have pork, I'll have fish. Last night I made myself some truffles, so it's like egg and cheese waffles, and then smeared them with liverwurst. It was delicious. Um, so I'll eat whatever in the evening. I should probably eat a little bit more, but I'm happy with that. And a- as a treat, once in a while, I'll also have just some plain Greek yogurt, and I'll add a bit of salt or maybe some cinnamon on it. I have that. And this summer, I started to make Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. So just heavy whipping cream and raw eggs and a dash of vanilla. I don't use any sugar. And I mix it up and freeze it. And I'm freezing it in little ice cube trays. So I make little tiny ice cream bites. And they're perfect. They're really nice on the hot days. So that's what I've been doing this summer. So that's
Oh,
it.
that's nice. Um, so can you see yourself doing this forever?
Yeah, I can. Like, um, it's just so simple, right? And other things that maybe new people are worried about, like um, people worry about. They say if you need fiber to go to the bathroom, you don't need fiber to go to the bathroom, and you go way less often because your body's using up all the nutrients. And I'm like, do I really want to spend all those hours having to go to a bathroom, find a bathroom? No, I don't. Right? So it's really nice to not have to do that when you're on carnivore. And just everything is just so much easier. You don't have much to cook. And now that I'm using an air fryer, I throw a steak in there, put it on a plate, eat it, wash. You don't have to chop anything. It saves time in the kitchen. I have more time to do anything else but be in the kitchen cooking. It's really freeing, right? I can't imagine going back. I When I first started, I thought maybe I would be carnivore plus olives, plus sauerkraut, or plus pickles, because those are things that I really loved. But I haven't reintroduced them yet because it's just easier not to. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel the same, you know? When you start, you feel like, you've got this kind of niggling thought in the back of your mind. It's like, "Yeah, well, I've always broken every other diet. At some point, I'm gonna get to the stage where I just have to have the cereal, or I just have to have that muffin, or whatever it is. Gotta go
Yeah.
back to those things." But
Yeah.
then after a while, you feel, and this actually happened with drinking for me as well, you're actually kinda looking at it and going, "How could I ever go back there? How I
Exactly.
don't feel anything for that stuff anymore."
hmm I almost feel sorry for the people who are stuck in the hamster wheel, right, of sugar addiction now. Um, I noticed it on the cruise, right? Like I really did not have to eat as much as I did, but I did eat a lot of meat. But the regular people on there, right? They were just nonstop eating so much food, and I'm just thinking, oh, it's just so bad for you, right? And not a lot of, even in Europe now, not a lot of people are looking healthy these days. Many people are overweight. Many people are red in the face. Many people have other skin conditions. Um, it's it's not looking good, right? I don't think people's metabolic health is very good over here either.
Yeah, and, I think when you're carnivore and you're able to not eat all the time, you just have something to eat and then that's it, "Okay, I'm good."
Yeah,
That's when you really start to notice, like, "Hey, that guy that I saw half an hour ago eating something, he's got some other food in his hand now." It's like it's not like it's just people have junk food. It's like people have junk food and constantly.
constantly.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
almost like a little kid carrying a teddy bear around with them. It's like the food's always there as
It
a
is.
comfort.
It is a comfort thing. I was talking to somebody and I was saying, "Oh, we'll go to the lake." And they're like, "Oh, it's the lake." So then you have to bring snacks, right? And you bring chips and you bring this and you bring I'm like, "No, you can just go to a lake and bring your bottle of water in case you get thirsty, and just have a day of having fun, right? You can go on the paddleboard and you can play and you can do all these things and you don't have to eat." But uh, people who are eating the regular Western diet can't do that. They really do need to, restock all those carbs that they're eating because they get hungry. But I don't get hungry anymore. And I know, like, you, the premise is you should eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full, right? With a carnivore. But sometimes I just like a routine and I just eat even if I'm not hungry because I think, no, it's 11:30, I'm going to have some lunch unless I'm really busy doing something, or if I have a travel day and I know I'm taking a flight and I usually don't eat breakfast. Well, that day that I'm taking a flight, I will eat my lunchtime meal at home, um, for breakfast, just so I have some food in me and then I don't have to worry about eating again for 12 hours, right? So it's yeah, I do try to stick to a schedule, eating schedule, also it's easier, right? So, yeah.
You reminded me there of something from my pre-carnivore days when you're talking about having a day at the lake. And, whenever I would be planning something or think, "Oh, I'll go for a hike here," or "I'll go and do this thing," the thought that I really had was, "What am I going to have from the restaurant that's at the end of the thing I'm going to do?"
Yes.
It was always like the event you were doing, that was always kind of really a secondary thing. It's just a like a thing in the way of getting to the restaurant or getting to the food court or something.
Sure. No, and in Germany, you really see that. Like you go in these in the woods on hiking trails, and you'll walk 5 kilometers up, and then there's going to be a restaurant there, and it's a beer garden, of course. So all of the hikers go and they're drinking beer and they're having their schnitzel and their French fries, and that is the highlight of their hike. And then they hike all the way back down. Um, or if you go to see a concert, right? People are huge lineups to get some crappy food at a concert, which is stupidly expensive, and to get drinks. I mean, a hot summer night, the concerts, like the beer lineup is out of this world. And then the toilet lineup is out of this world. And I'm like, they're missing half the concert just going to get drinks and then get rid of the drinks after they've drunk them. So it's just so free. We get so much more out of life when we don't, right, do that anymore. It's just, it's great.
Yeah, it's like I think my stepfather would say, like there's so much faffing around, you can't actually enjoy the thing you're there to enjoy, you know? Because
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So if someone came to you, Jody, and said, "Okay, I want to start carnivore. Tell me what to do." Based on your experience, what advice or tips would you give them?
I think the first thing people really have to do is educate themselves. They have to invest a little bit of research into it before they begin. Like I said, I did it for 9 months before I began. Maybe that's a bit much, but people have to educate themselves. There's information is out there, right? There's all the experts have podcasts, have YouTube channels. Um, Somebody like Rena on the Primal podcast interviews all the experts, and then you could look up those experts and go down those rabbit holes of their channels and find out information. There's lots of doctors who've um, have written books. I've bought those books from Dr. Georgia Ede or whatever, right? Change your diet, change your mind, all of these things. So I think educate yourself is really the best. And to have patience. You can't undo decades of poor eating habits and bad health overnight, right? It's not going to take 30 days. It's not going to take 60 days. It could take 90 days to a year or whatever, right? Because I think the whole purpose of the carnivore is to heal. And sure, a happy side effect is that if people are overweight, they lose weight. But you also see the expert interviews of people who need to gain weight on carnivore, right? So some women have been interviewed by Kelly Hogan, and they had other kinds of diseases. They were not anorexic. They had a certain metabolic disease that their body couldn't take up any nutrients, and they were thin as rails, right? They looked anorexic. When they went carnivore, it healed their body and they gained weight. So I think carnivore helps you find your proper weight, no matter if you're over or underweight. Um, and listen to these podcasts. Right? Walking is a great way to get exercise, get fresh air, get sunshine, and then just throw in your ear pods and well, just one, so you can always hear traffic on the other, and or a bear if you're in Canada. Never walk with ear pods, both ear pods on, um, and just get as much knowledge as you can. And then, just like when I quit drinking, you have to know your personal whys, why you're doing this. So when I stopped drinking, I kept a daily journal and I would write down my lists of why I stopped drinking every single day. And my first one was to have better health and to lose a bit of weight. Um, Same thing with stopping sugar addiction and going carnivore was to have better health and to lose a bit of weight. Um, but that I didn't realize all the other benefits that came with it. So really, a daily journal also can help you if you're starting out. And getting a support group. I mean, community is really important, right? So you have a great community on Facebook. I really like going on there every day. I comment a lot on there. Um, but it's really good. It helps, I think, to find your people, right? To find the people who have something in common, um, and it encourages you to keep going, and you can encourage others to keep going when they are um, struggling. We can do hard things, right? I know that now. So we can do hard things, but once you do these hard things, it's worth it in the end, right? So I know from like your community, there are people and watching your videos, there are people with really worse diseases, um, worse acute illnesses, right? From MS to cancer to everything, and they're able to put it in remission or get healthy again by doing this. And I'm thankful, I'm grateful that I didn't have anything like that. But I'm also thinking for me, this is a way of preventing things like that, right? If you don't have the sugar, then hopefully you can prevent these illnesses. And so that's a big why for me is I don't want to get sick. I want to stay healthy in my old age. So that's it. And then also, if you're starting out new, um, you have to be prepared, right? Like we learned in Girl Guides, right? Be prepared. Um, if you're going out to an event, eat at home if you can't avoid the temptation, and then you're full, and then you don't want to eat anything. And you could just say to people, "Oh, I already grabbed a bite. I'm not hungry," and people will accept that, right? Um, if you go to a concert or something like that, and you think you're going to get the nibblies, well, then make some bacon and put it in your bag, right? Purse bacon, like Kelly Hogan calls it, right? Or meat cookies. Make some hamburgers, throw them in your bag, and you have something with you. And then the temptation is gone from buying nachos at a concert, and you can just eat your purse bacon. It's, very handy. So be prepared and educate yourself. Those are my two big ones.
Nice. So Jody, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact or any social media?
Not really. I'm not even on Instagram. I am on Facebook, but really that is just my friends and my family or the people who I have contact with. Um, I keep thinking, do I jump into the carnivore space? Shall I create something, a channel, or um, I keep thinking about that. I keep thinking about doing it in English, or would I do it in German? Because I live in Germany. There's not many German channels out there that are talking about carnivore. Um, but I'm still just thinking about it. I'm not brave enough yet to go down that road.
Yeah, no worries. Well, Jody, look, thank you so much for coming back on and letting us know how things are going and sharing your experience. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no worries. It's always great talking to you.